If your boss were to say to you that they're going to add additional jobs to your schedule and give you very little compensation for doing those additional jobs, you would not be on board for that. You would say, absolutely not. And if they continue to press the issue, you would probably quit. In your work life, you don't allow multiple jobs to be added to your schedule. In your personal life, most women, some women I should say, allow it because every woman starts out with just 3 jobs on her schedule before she adds a relationship and children to her schedule. And these 3 jobs are your 9 to 5 job, your the job of taking care of yourself, making sure that you stay physically fit, you take care of your skin, you take care of your hair, you take care of your nails, you take care of your mental and emotional well being. You have the job of caring for yourself on your schedule. Then you have the job of keeping your environment neat and clean. So most women start off in life with just these 3 jobs on their schedule. Each one of these tiny boxes represent a job. Anything that consumes your time and requires physical or cognitive labor. So you didn't allow multiple jobs to be added onto your schedule in your work life. But in your personal life, you allow it because now these 3 jobs that you have, you start off, now you add a relationship to this, to these 3 jobs. So that's an additional job because when someone asks you to be with them, they are asking you to invest your time and resources into them. They're asking you to sign up for the job of caring for them. So now you went from having just 3 jobs on your schedule to having 4 jobs on your schedule. And if he wants you to cook for him when you get off from work or on your days off, that's an additional job. If he doesn't like cleaning up after himself and he doesn't have hired help or family members to take care of that for him, now you have the job of being his personal housekeeper. So that's an additional job. And of course, he's going to want you to provide escort services. So that's an additional job. You don't just get to get off from work and wash up and go to sleep. You now have someone to invest your time into. That's what happens when you're in a relationship. This person wants you to spend time with them. They want you to pour into them. So you got the escort services on there. And now, if he wants you to have children with him, you're going to provide surrogacy services. That's an additional job. And each child that you have with him is an additional job. So most people have 1 or 2 children. So I'll just add another one for 2 children. So now you have all these jobs on your schedule. And in most cases, women are not being compensated for their time and their personal life when they're doing all of these jobs. And anytime a person has multiple jobs on their schedule, they have little, very little time to invest in themselves. Very little time to invest in themselves, which is why, in some cases, people will say she let herself go. Well, of course, any person that signs up to do multiple jobs is not going to have very much time to invest in self-care. And you can always tell when a person has signed up to do multiple jobs. They're tired, exhausted, and depleted. They're more than likely in a sleep debt. They're in time poverty. If you don't know what time poverty is, I created a video titled "Time Poverty Kills Romantic Relationships and Marriages." And in that video, I show from a numbers perspective what time poverty looks like. So when a person has all of these jobs on their schedule, they are going to need a lot of caffeine to make it through their days, because they have so many things to do, a schedule that is jam-packed. And you can always tell, because when people have multiple jobs on their schedule, they usually aren't able to maintain a fit physique. They usually have a large waistline due to raised cortisol levels from all the stress of dealing with these multiple jobs. And you can see that signing up for multiple jobs causes premature aging. It causes things like dark circles, under eye bags and puffiness, fine lines and wrinkles, lackluster skin. It also causes issues with hair growth. Either your hair is going to start to fall out, or you will have stunted hair growth where your hair doesn't grow past a certain length. And a lot of this is because what you allowed into you didn't allow it in your work life. Wouldn't allow your boss to sign you up for all of those jobs, but you allowed yourself to sign up for multiple jobs in your personal life. And all that this does is cause tiredness. It causes you to be tired, exhausted, and depleted. And a lot of women sign up for this because they have been programmed and conditioned to believe that if a woman does not do all of these jobs, she is not a good wife, she is not a good mother, she is not a good woman. All because you don't want to sign up to do multiple jobs. This here, having all these jobs on your schedule, is stressful. Let's say that you get with someone that decides to take your 9-to-5 job off of your schedule after you have children with them. And so now that takes the 9-to-5 job off of your schedule. Take that out. And now you've got this type of schedule where you still have to care for yourself. You still have to care for the man that you're in a relationship with. You still have to meet his needs and pour time into him. He wants you to cook. He wants you to clean. Okay? And once you get out of the surrogacy services, that's no longer on there, right? Because you've had the children, so you already provided that service. But now you have the job of caring for each child, you have the job of caring for doing the job of a housekeeper is very time consuming in some cases, depending upon how many people you're cleaning up after, how many loads of laundry need to be washed and folded. It can be a whole lot to deal with. So he took your 9 to 5 job off your schedule, but after you had children with him. So you got 2 children to care for, you've got him to care for, you've got your household to care for, you've got yourself to care for. So you still have multiple jobs on your schedule. And if you don't have hired help, this can still lead to exhaustion and depletion, because this is a lot to have to deal with without there being any family members to help out or any hired help. I see a lot of women in this situation where they're not having to work a 9 to 5 job anymore, but they still have all these jobs on their schedule because they don't have hired help. And so it still takes a toll on your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. This is why it's so important before you have children to talk about things like a support system. Because when a strong support system is in place, you have help with these things and you're not trying to juggle multiple jobs. When a man comes to you asking you to be with him, he is looking to put jobs on your schedule. He is not looking, in most cases, to sign you up for a life of luxury. In most cases, he is looking to place jobs on your schedule. And that is what this is, multiple jobs on your schedule. Because most men don't have a strong support system. And because they don't have a strong support system, they are looking for a helpmate. And when someone says that they're looking for a helpmate, or you don't see a support system, or they don't talk about a support system and they're just talking about having children, you are placing yourself in a situation where you are going to be doing multiple jobs with little to no help. And again, that is not good for your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It takes a toll on you. A lot of women sign up for these multiple jobs, and once they're in it, they're like, whoa, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm depleted, and they're ready to get out of that kind of situation, which is why divorce rates are very high when the woman gets into this situation and realizes that it's too much. And a lot of the times it's because most men don't participate in domestic labor. And if they do it in a way that is done poorly so that you don't ever ask them to do it again. Some men, not all men. And if you're with a man that doesn't help out with domestic labor, that's part of the reason why a lot of women leave their marriages. If they're doing all these jobs on their own and they're getting very little help from their partner, or they don't have hired help, it only makes things that much more stressful. One of the things that is important is that realize what you're signing up for. When someone says they want a helpmate, that is the equivalent of someone saying, I don't have a very strong support system. And because I don't have a very strong support system, I need you to place these jobs on your schedule. And again, when looking at it from the outside looking in, or not, or looking at it from a perspective where you haven't gone through it personally, it could seem like not much to do. But once you're in it, that's when you realize this is way too much to do. And that's why when my late husband talked to me about having children when we were getting to know each other, and mind you, my late husband and I got to know each other for over 2 years before we went on our first date. So we got to know each other very well before we even went on our first date. And when he talked about having children with me, he didn't just talk about having children with me, he talked about a support system that would be in place to help. Every quarter we had a housekeeper come in. Every quarter we had someone that could watch our child so that we can tend to our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And when someone comes to you established, they have a support system, they're financially stable, that is great because it takes a huge load off of your shoulders, off of his shoulders, and you don't have to worry about those things. So before you sign up to be in a relationship with someone, especially someone that wants you to have children with them, make sure that they are talking about a support system. Because without that, the relationship may not last very long due to something called exhaustion. When anyone signs up for multiple jobs, it gets to a point of exhaustion. And that just doesn't end well. So really think about that. If you're going to put all these things on your schedule, all these jobs on your schedule, think about what that's going to do to your physical, mental, and emotional well-being.